everybody. Brian Matthey from Verico the Mortgage Professionals in Kingston, Ontario, and welcome to Mortgage Straight Talk. Now, before I get into this is an introduction to Mortgage Straight Talk, and I want to tell you how this came about. Earlier this year, this is 2011, this series will be introduced in 2012, our company was chosen as Canada's best mortgage company by Canadian Professional magazine. And I was at the presentation in Toronto, and we were very happy to receive that award, and they announced some statistics at this conference. And they told us that the share of market for mortgage brokers had increased over the last year from about 26% to 30%, which I thought was pretty good. But a statistic that really rang home with me was the fact that 70% of people really didn't know what mortgage brokers do. I've been in this business for 22 years. I've seen a lot of clients, first-time home buyers, existing home buyers. There's a lot of things that we do as a mortgage broker that are totally different than what you may have experienced at a bank. And the industry itself hasn't really done a good job promoting itself in terms of letting you know what the difference is in dealing with a mortgage broker. So that's why I'm introducing the Mortgage Straight Talk series. It's going to be for home buyers and homeowners. So whether you're a home buyer or a homeowner, there's going to be something in this series for you. It's going to be a series of videos that are going to be released over 2012. They'll be released on YouTube, and you'll see some contact information at the end of this video if you'd like to subscribe. My contact information is also there for any questions that you have. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about in the Mortgage Straight Talk series. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a history of the mortgage brokerage industry, where we came from, where we are today, and where we're going in the future. A lot of people don't understand the role of a mortgage broker. I'm going to try and explain that to you, and I'm also going to try and give you a background into the type of things that we do as a mortgage broker that, again, are different than what you may have experienced in the past. So let's start off with some of the things that we're going to talk about. We're going to do some mortgage basics, and I'm going to talk about affordability, but I'm going to talk about affordability in a different way. First thing you're going to see coming out is a budget series, and the budget series talks about two things. It's going to lead you through looking at a budget and preparing to buy a home, which an awful lot of home buyers don't do. It's a great way to understand where your finances are right now and how affordable it is for you to buy a home in the future. I'm going to talk about the Jeans Principle. I'm going to talk about Kraft Dinner Flambe Syndrome. You'll have to tune in to see that video. I'm going to talk about cashback mortgages. And I'm going to talk about the truth about cashback mortgages, because there's a lot of information out there about cashback mortgages. They can be good, but there's a lot of pitfalls within cashback mortgages that people don't understand. I'm going to tell you about those. I'm going to talk about variable versus fixed. I'm going to talk about the history of variable rates, where they've been, where they are, where they're going, and whether in fact it's still a good idea to stay in variable or whether it's a good idea to go fixed. We're going to talk about shopping for a mortgage, the questions you should be asking of the person you are asking to do the single biggest loan you're ever likely to make in your life. So we're going to talk about that. Converting your variable. I'm going to talk about some tricks with converting your variable. Not all variables are made equal. And so there's a lot of people that have gone into a variable mortgage expecting one thing and have ended up with something else totally different. So I'm going to talk about some of the pros and the cons and some of the pitfalls in converting a variable. Things you should know. 5-year versus 10-year. Again, with interest rates being this low, some people have said, well, I want 5-year, I want 10-year. Well, there's a cost to being in 10-year. You have to understand that cost to see whether the risk is worthwhile going into 10-year. We're going to talk about that. On the strategy side, I'm going to talk about the rule of 5. The rule of 5 is something very, very simple. It can take a 30-year mortgage and pay your mortgage off in half the time without any extra prepayment. So without putting lump sums in your mortgage, I can show you a way where you can actually decrease your mortgage time, virtually cut it in half if you wish to do so. I'm going to talk about the inflation hedge strategy. Inflation hedge is where we look at your mortgage as it exists right now, look at where interest rates could be in the future, and we design a program for you to prevent you from being in a position where your mortgage payment goes from here to here because your interest rate's gone from here to here when you renew. I'm going to talk about payments on a variable, a strategy on your variable that you should be using if you're in a variable right now, but you're not. Over the past 10 or 20 years, and certainly over the last 10 years, I've saved my clients countless thousands of dollars in interest by using this particular strategy. I'm going to talk about the tax man, how to use the tax man to pay off your mortgage. There is something that, depending on your tax status, depending on where you are, that you may be able to use a tax strategy to use the tax man's money to pay off your mortgage. Again, I've used that with my clients, and it's made some significant money in their pockets. I'm going to talk about mortgage renewals. Again, I heard a statistic regarding mortgage renewals with regard to the banks and how many of the banks are actually renewing mortgages at much higher rates than what you should have in the marketplace. So again, I'm going to talk about mortgage renewals and some strategies. So these are a few of the topics that we're going to have in my Mortgage Straight Talk series. I'm also going to have some financial planning involved in this. I'm going to have a guest series. We're going to be talking about wills, powers of attorney, mortgage life insurance. So all the things that really would affect you if you're looking at your financial situation today when you're getting a mortgage, and actually looking at your financial situation not only today, but in the future. So that's it. That's my introduction to Mortgage Straight Talk. I'm Brad Matthey from Verico the Mortgage Professionals. All the information is at the end of this video. Thanks for watching.